Yo, what is going on, everybody? My name is Dominic from the channel Dominic Talks Movies, as you can see on screen, and today I'm going to be finally doing my reviewing your Letterboxd favorites video, because as you can see in my videos a few days ago, I posted a little short asking you guys to comment your Letterboxd username so that I can judge your top 4 favorites or whatever. And so today I'm going to be going through your Letterboxd accounts. If you guys look up here in the top, I have so many tabs open, and I just got an overwhelming response and just number of people commenting wanting me to look at their favorites on Letterboxd. So that is what we are going to do today. But before we get started, I just want to let a quick disclaimer out there that I have not seen that many movies. If you check my account, I've not even seen 550 movies yet. So there's going to be a lot of these films in your guys' accounts that I have not seen yet. So if I haven't seen one or even a couple of your favorite movies, don't take it personally. I just haven't seen that many movies yet. But with that being said, let's hop right into the very first one right here. We got my boy Cyberbully. His 4 favorites are There Will Be Blood, Old Boy, 2001: A Space Odyssey, and Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. As you can see, I have seen all of these except for Old Boy, so I will judge it based off the 3 that I have seen. There Will Be Blood, fantastic movie, very, very, very good. I would say it's arguably close to a technical masterpiece. Although it is a little emotionally distant for me, I think it's still an amazing movie. 2001 is basically a masterpiece, and Return of the King, same thing. But I like to typically group the Lord of the Rings movies together. However, if I was to choose one favorite, it would be Return of the King. So overall, I'm going to give this a very, very solid 9.5 out of 10. Next up, we got my guy VK Studios. His 4 favorite films on his account are Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, Return of the King, and Hot Fuzz. I've just realized that VK has a list of his actual favorite movies of all time, so actually I will be judging this one. The only one I haven't seen on here is Terminator 2, so Inception, very, very good movie. I definitely was wrong about it. When I watched it for the first time, I didn't think it was that amazing, but now I've come to my senses. It is a very, very good movie. Empire Strikes Back, best Star Wars movie, one of the best sci-fi films of all time, maybe the best, but it's close. Just a fantastic movie. And Unbreakable was definitely a disappointing film that I watched not too long ago, but not a bad movie by any means. I'm going to give this a very, very solid 7.5 out of 10. Next up here is Bry82 or Bree82. I don't really know. I apologize if I butchered your name. We got Saving Private Ryan, Old Boy, Inglourious Bastards, and No Country for Old Men. I have not seen these first 2, so I'm going to judge it based off of these 2. Inglourious Bastards is a very, very good movie, but not necessarily one of my very favorite Tarantino films, but that's not taken away from the movie because it's amazing. And No Country for Old Men is currently, I think, my favorite Coen Brothers movie, and it is absolutely fantastic. I think overall I'm going to have to give you a very solid 8 out of 10 for your 2 favorites that I've seen. Next up is TH, and his favorites are The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, Return of the Jedi, and Goodfellas. Have not seen Apocalypse Now. I have seen the other 3. Godfather is definitely one of the greatest films ever made. It is fantastic. Return of the Jedi is my least favorite of the Star Wars OG trilogy, but that trilogy is absolutely phenomenal, so that is definitely still an amazing movie. And Goodfellas is one that I didn't love when I first watched it, but it's grown on me a little bit. Definitely not a bad movie by any means, but not one of my favorites. I think I'm going to have to give you a very, very solid 8 out of 10 also. Next up, we got Jennifer Vega. She makes amazing content on YouTube, Letterboxd, all of her social medias. Definitely make sure to follow her on here. Yeah, that's basically it. I haven't seen Donnie Darko or Contact. I have seen Scream. It does kind of hold a special place in my heart because it was my 500th film ever, which is kind of crazy to think about. And it's really good. It's a very good film, so there's that also. And then The Shining is my second favorite horror movie of all time. It is in my top 20 favorite movies, period. It's just absolutely amazing. I'm gonna have to give you a very solid 9 out of 10 for your 2 favorites that I have seen. Next up, we got Ethan. His 4 favorite films are Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Mulholland Drive, Eyes Wide Shut, and Raising Arizona. I've only seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Eyes Wide Shut. I really need to see Mulholland Drive, and I was actually gonna watch Raising Arizona last night, but I decided to watch something else. But yeah, unfortunately I've only seen 2 of them. I apologize if you're one of these people that have only seen 1 or maybe even 2 or 3 of your favorites. I don't know how many of these I'll have seen all 4, so again, apologies to you guys if I haven't seen many of your favorite movies, but yeah. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, same sort of thing with Inglourious Basterds. It's not really among some of my very favorite Tarantino movies, but it is still very, very good. And then Eyes Wide Shut is one of, if not the most underrated Stanley Kubrick film. It's absolutely amazing. Overall, I'm gonna have to give you an 8.5 out of 10. Next up, we got my boy Jaden from Action Packed Studios 79. Same thing. You gotta go follow this dude. He's absolutely a legend. Follow him on Letterboxd. Subscribe to him on YouTube. If you're on my YouTube channel, you probably are already subscribed to him because he's definitely more popular than I am. But regardless, if you're not subscribed, definitely go do so. His favorite films: War for the Planet of the Apes, Jojo Rabbit, How to Train Your Dragon, and Interstellar. I have seen How to Train Your Dragon, but it's been such a long time that I'm just gonna go ahead and not judge it, because for your sake it would probably just drag the score down a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and not do that one. War for the Planet of the Apes is the best in the modern Planet of the Apes trilogy. Very, very good movie. Jojo Rabbit, one of the weaker 2020 Best Picture nominees in my opinion, but not a bad movie. It's quite a good movie. Interstellar is basically, I don't know if I feel quite comfortable calling it a masterpiece necessarily, but it is a very, very, very good movie. I think overall I'm going to have to give your list a very solid 8 out of 10. Next up, we got my boy Cody. Definitely go follow him on Letterboxd as well. He's seen way more movies than I have, so yeah. His favorite films are the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We like to see that. Amadeus, Braveheart, and Howl's Moving Castle. I have not seen Braveheart. I'm sorry, Cody. But the Lord of the Rings trilogy, my favorite trilogy of all time, it's basically perfect. Amadeus, very, very good movie. One that I haven't seen for a while, but one I also feel comfortable judging, and it is a very good movie. Howl's Moving Castle, my least favorite Ghibli so far, but it is still a very good movie. I think overall I'm gonna have to give yours an 8.5 out of 10. It would have been an 8 out of 10, but Lord of the Rings trilogy automatically bumps it up a little bit. Next up here we got Persona. Their favorite films, or at least their 4 most recent 5-star films, are Portrait of a Lady on Fire, The Master, The Seventh Seal, and 2001: A Space Odyssey. I have not seen The Master, but I will say Portrait of a Lady on Fire, amazing movie. Seventh Seal, fantastic movie. 2001: A Space Odyssey, masterpiece. This is a very, very, very good top 4. I'm going to have to give you a very, very solid 9.25 out of 10. Next up here we got D Jones 2403, and their favorite movies are Raiders of the Lost Ark, Chinatown, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and Pulp Fiction. Again, have not seen Chinatown. Seems to be a recurring theme. I've not seen at least one movie from basically everyone's top 4. So again, apologies for that. Raiders of the Lost Ark, my favorite Indiana Jones movie. Absolutely amazing. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, fantastic movie. And Pulp Fiction is one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Overall, I'm going to have to give you the same score as Persona. You're going to get a very, very good 9.25 out of 10. Next up, we got Ty Knobloch, and his favorite films are On the Waterfront, Midnight in Paris, Casablanca, and Princess Mononoke. I have only seen Casablanca on this list. Unfortunately, actually, here it says my number 1 favorite film is Parasite. So I'll just, I guess, do Casablanca and Parasite. Parasite, phenomenal movie, and Casablanca I really like. I think you're gonna overall get a very solid 9.25 out of 10. Next up, we got Yo Mr. White 777. Their favorite movies are Whiplash, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, A Clockwork Orange, and Dog Day Afternoon. Haven't seen Dog Day Afternoon or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Whiplash, phenomenal movie, and Clockwork Orange, another phenomenal movie. I don't know if I'm gonna do this. You know what? Why not? Out of the two I've seen, you are going to be the very first 10 out of 10 on the day. Take that with a grain of salt because I've only seen 2 of your films, but for those 2 films, you get a 10 out of 10. Next up, we got Film Geek. His favorite films are Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Return of the Jedi, Return of the King, and Avengers Infinity War. This is the first one that I've seen all 4, which is, big milestone. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, one of my favorite movies, absolutely amazing. Return of the Jedi, as I said, my least favorite of the OGs, but still very good. Return of the King, phenomenal. Avengers Infinity War, very good movie. I think I'm gonna overall give you a very solid 9.5 out of 10. Next up, Samuel Morrison. Favorite films are Magnolia, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Pulp Fiction, Eyes Wide Shut. Haven't seen these first 2, but Pulp Fiction is amazing and Eyes Wide Shut is also amazing. I'm going to give you also a 9.5 out of 10. Next up, we got Film Talk YT. I've seen all of these 4 as well, so there you go. We keep getting better. First up, Back to the Future. Very good movie. Due for a rewatch because I haven't seen it in a while, but a very fun movie. Social Network, a very good movie as well. My favorite David Fincher film. The Dark Knight, amazing movie. Arguably my favorite Christopher Nolan film. And Nightcrawler, a film that I think I gave it a little too much hype when I first watched it, but it's still an amazing movie. I'm gonna have to give you a very solid 8.75 out of 10. Next up, we got Caesar Jones. Luckily, I haven't actually found anyone's favorites that I've not liked, so that is a positive. Favorite films are Toy Story, Taxi Driver, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and Shawshank. Another one that I have seen all of these movies. Toy Story, very good movie, definitely up there with some of my favorite animated films. Taxi Driver, a film that has worsened a little bit for me over time, but still a very good movie. Return of the King is a masterpiece. Shawshank is a masterpiece. Overall, I'm gonna have to give you a very solid 9 out of 10 for your favorites. Next up, Josh Hickey. Pacific Rim, I've seen it, but I'm not a big fan of that movie. It's not terrible, but it's definitely not very good. First Avenger has grown on me since I first watched it, but I still don't love it. And Star Wars, the original from 1977, my second favorite Star Wars movie, still phenomenal. And I have not seen Tim Burton's Batman. I'm going to have to give your favorites a 7.5 out of 10. The original Star Wars brings it up. Next up, we got my boy Ruben. His favorite films are Pulp Fiction, Goodfellas, Fantastic Mr. Fox, and Inception. This dude, this is a great top 4. Pulp Fiction, masterpiece. Goodfellas has grown on me. Fantastic Mr. Fox is tied for my favorite film of all time. Inception, very good movie. Unfortunately, I don't absolutely love Goodfellas, and Inception isn't like a complete masterpiece to me. These two bring it up, but I'm gonna have to give you an 8.5 out of 10 in total. Next up, I have not seen any of these. Alright, so I found a favorites list right here. Top 4. I've seen one of them. There we go. I've seen one. Barry Lyndon. Very good movie. I'm going to have to give you a 9 out of 10 just for Barry Lyndon. Next up, Ari Taco or Ari Taco. Again, sorry if I butcher your name. Favorite films, The Princess Bride, Spider-Man 2, Cars, and Fellowship of the Ring. Seen all of these. Princess Bride is just such a fun and nostalgic movie for me. Spider-Man 2 is my least favorite of the original Spider-Man trilogy, but it's still a good movie. Cars is also a good movie, and Fellowship of the Ring, phenomenal film. I'm going to have to give you an 8.5 out of 10. Fellowship of the Ring brings it up. Next up, we got a name that I'm probably going to butcher really hard. Marcus Fielvang. Hopefully I got that right. I have seen all of these. Masterpiece, very good and phenomenal. This is a very good one. I think Inglourious brings it down for me. Overall, I'm going to give you a 9.5 out of 10. Next up, we got Ethan, and his favorite films are Finding Nemo, Creed, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and 1917. I have not seen Creed yet. Finding Nemo is up there with some of my favorite Pixar films. Zack Snyder's Justice League is very, very good. It is definitely not without its flaws, but I still love the movie. 1917, it's one of the pretty mid-tier 2020 Best Picture nominees, but still a very, very good movie. Overall, I'm going to have to give you a solid 8 out of 10. Next up, we got Xavier Roberts. Favorite films are The Empire Strikes Back, The Dark Knight, Star Wars, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Empire is my favorite Star Wars movie, amazing. Dark Knight, amazing. Star Wars, amazing. Raiders of the Lost Ark, really, really good. Overall, you're going to get a 9.5 out of 10. Next up, Jimmy Talks Movies. Star Wars, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Infinity War, and Your Name. The only one I'm not a huge fan of here is Your Name, but it's not a bad movie by any means. Overall, you're going to get an 8.5 out of 10. So Your Name doesn't drag it down too much. Next up, my boy Ethan Butler, another fellow content creator. Definitely follow him on Letterboxd and subscribe to his YouTube channel. He makes really great stuff. I was realizing that like midway through reading that those weren't actually his favorite films. Here we go. Favorite films: Shawshank Redemption, Before Sunset, Jaws, and 12 Angry Men. All amazing movies. I'm going to have to give a very, very solid 9.5 out of 10 for that one. Next up, Gustavo. We got King of Comedy, La Haine, The Shining, and Sound of Metal. King of Comedy is top 3 Scorsese for me. It's absolutely amazing. La Haine is, I think, in my top 20 favorite movies of all time. The Shining is as well. And Sound of Metal is probably still my favorite Best Picture nominee from this previous year. This is a very, very good top 4. I'm going to give you a very solid 9.5 out of 10 as well. Next up, we got my boy Gavin the Geek, another fellow content creator. Follow him on Letterboxd, subscribe to his YouTube. Favorite films are The Perks of Being a Wallflower, Fight Club, The Shawshank Redemption, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Have not seen Perks of Being a Wallflower. Don't want to talk about Fight Club. Shawshank Redemption's a masterpiece, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is one of the most overlooked horror films of all time. Fight Club definitely brings it down. I'm going to stray away from making that as unbiased as possible, so I'm going to have to give you a very solid 7.5 out of 10. Next up, Proposition Matt. Favorite films are Taxi Driver, The Hustler, Laura, and King of Comedy. I've only seen King of Comedy and Taxi Driver, both Scorsese films, and I really do like both of these movies. You're going to get a very solid 8 out of 10 from me. Next up, we got my boy Ryan, and he's also a fellow content creator. Follow him on Letterboxd, subscribe to his YouTube. I know this actually isn't his top 4, so I'll be right back with his list. So here we go. This is his actual top 4. We got Whiplash, La La Land, Back to the Future, 12 Angry Men. All very, very good movies. You got some Damien Chazelle love going on here, clearly. Whiplash, amazing. La La Land, amazing. Back to the Future, very fun. And 12 Angry Men is one of the best films of all time. I'm going to have to give Ryan a very solid 9.5 out of 10. Next up, we got Jack McGinn. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, It's a Wonderful Life, Pulp Fiction, and Back to the Future. All great films that I do like a lot. I haven't seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in a minute, but I do remember liking it. It's a Wonderful Life is probably my favorite Jimmy Stewart performance. Very, very, very good. Pulp Fiction, masterpiece. Back to the Future, very fun, entertaining film. I'm going to have to give you a solid 8 out of 10. Next up, we got another fellow content creator, Cinema Ranks. follow his Letterboxd, subscribe to his YouTube, you know the deal by now. Favorite films are Jurassic Park, Spider-Man, Back to the Future, and Titanic. I have not seen Titanic. Jurassic Park is my favorite Spielberg movie. Spider-Man is my favorite of the Spider-Man original trilogy. And Back to the Future, I mean, everyone's got Back to the Future now apparently. Very, very fun movie. I'm going to give you a very solid 8.5 out of 10. Next up, we got my boy Oliver. I know these aren't actually his favorite films, but we love to see Before Sunrise love. Well done, mate. Here are his actual favorite movies. Now I just haven't seen 2 of these. Maybe I should actually judge the other ones, because these 2 were on that one as well. Alright, we're back here because, you know, Before Sunrise and 2001 are on there anyway, so we're just going to go with this one. Before Sunrise, absolute masterpiece, tied for my favorite film of all time. Blade Runner, sci-fi masterpiece, maybe my favorite sci-fi movie. 2001, masterpiece. Grand Budapest Hotel, very, very good movie. Probably top 3 Wes Anderson for me. This is one of the best ones I've seen so far. I'm gonna have to give this a 9.75 out of 10. I don't know if I can quite give this a 10 out of 10 because the Grand Budapest Hotel isn't quite a 10 for me, but 9.75 out of 10 for you. Phenomenal. And last but certainly not least, we got GingerCat59, another fellow content creator. Follow him on Letterboxd and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Favorite films are Spider-Man, Back to the Future, Groundhog Day, and The Incredibles. Spider-Man, as I said, my favorite of that trilogy. Back to the Future is a very, very fun movie. Groundhog Day, surprisingly very good, and The Incredibles is my second favorite Pixar movie, I believe. This is a very, very good list. I'm gonna have to give you Ginger Cat an 8.5 out of 10. Very good top 4. And that is going to do it for this video, guys. Hopefully this isn't a super, super long video. I have a feeling it's gonna be pretty lengthy, but hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. I don't know if I'll do any of these in the future because I feel like everyone that wanted to be a part of it commented, so if you somehow wanted to be in this video and didn't comment in the last one, comment your Letterboxd down in the comment section. If I have enough, I'll do a part 2 sometime in the future, but I seriously doubt that's gonna happen. But yeah, that's basically it for this video, guys. I will see you all in the next one.